Welcome back to the last episode of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. This includes Reverse Rebirth and all of it. This is just going to be one final, huzzah through with some reading of some things. So, I hope you guys sit back and enjoy. I think next time I need to be a little bit more reticent about Jiminy's Journal. I completely had forgotten about it. We're not going to do all the story, because it's basically everything that we've just seen in this. There's a nice recap of all of this game in here. Card collection, not really going to go through that either. So, we've already gone through most of the characters, and I think that's pretty much what we're going to do, is we're going to do characters. So, Monstro. Pinocchio. A wooden puppet Geppetto made, brought to life by the Blue Fairy. To become a real boy, Pinocchio has learned bravery, kindness, and honesty. He and Geppetto were swallowed by Monstro, but they escaped with a little help from us. Geppetto, a gentle and earnest clockmaker who carved Pinocchio from a block of wood. Geppetto was swallowed by Monstro, boat and all, while searching for Pinocchio. The two were reunited inside the giant whale, and escaped with our help. Atlantica. Ariel, the daughter of King Triton, who longs to see the surface world. Worried by Flounder's disappearance, Ariel was cajoled by Ursula into forking over the King's Trident. That's interesting phrasing. Anyways. We helped Ariel save Flounder and recover the trident, and she resolved to tell her father the truth. Sebastian, Triton's music director and Ariel's guardian. Sebastian is constantly scolding Ariel for her escapades, but only because he worries for her safety. Flounder, a young fist. He's not exactly brave, but Flounder is Ariel's most loyal friend. There shouldn't be too many of these. Ursula, the Sea Witch. She once lived in the palace, but was banished for her scheming. Ursula deceived Ariel and stole the trident in an attempt to rule all of Atlantica. Neverland. Peter Pan, a boy who lives in Neverland where no one ever grows up. Peter can be stubborn, but deep down he's brave and just. He was upset that when he wanted to return to London, but in the end he wished her well. Tinkerbell, a fairy with a jealous streak, especially when Peter pays attention to other girls. Wendy, a dreamy English girl. Peter showed her the way to Neverland. Wendy really likes Peter, but decided to return home to London. Hook, a pirate captain who holds a grudge against Peter Pan. Hook kidnapped Wendy to lure Peter out. Normally proud, Hook falls to pieces when the moment... Normally proud, Hook falls to pieces the moment the crocodile that took his hand shows up. Hollow Bastion. The Beast. A prince transformed into a beast because of his selfishness. Meeting Belle restored humanity to his heart. Though stunned by Belle's cold behavior, his faith in their love never wavered. Belle, a young woman who saw kindness behind the beast's gruff exterior. Realizing Maleficent sought her heart, Belle acted cold toward the beast to keep her heart beyond the witch's reach. Maleficent, a witch who commands the darkness. Sora faced Maleficent in her Heartless once before. She stole Belle's heart to perfect her dark powers, though Belle had seen through her plan. Dragon Maleficent. Maleficent's dragon form. Her own sorcery mingled with the vast power of darkness made Maleficent a fearful opponent. 100 Acre Wood. Winnie the Pooh, a bear who lives in the base of a tree in the 100 Acre Wood. Pooh loves to eat, especially honey. He's gentle and easygoing, but a little absent-minded. Piglet, Pooh's closest friend. Piglet is very shy, and when he's surprised, he covers his eyes with his floppy ears. Owl, the wisest animal in the 100 Acre Woods. Sometimes he talks so much his friends fall asleep. Roo, a feisty kangaroo who's full of energy. Little Roo wants to learn to bounce as high as Tigger. Eeyore, a gloomy donkey whose tail keeps falling off and getting lost. Eeyore is timid and always a little down, and likes to take things slow. Tigger, the one and only. Cheerful Tigger loves to bounce all day long. Sometimes his energy is too much for the others, but he always means well. Rabbit, a diligent gardener who's always busy with his vegetables. Sometimes Rabbit is a little short-tempered, especially when Tigger bounces around in his garden. The Destiny Islands. Titus, a young boy from Sora's Islands with a sunny personality and lots of energy. Titus has no shortage of confidence either, and considers himself a champ at everything. Waka, a boy from Sora's Islands. Despite being the oldest, Waka is modest and takes good care of his friends. Selfie, a perky girl from Sora's Islands. Selfie is assertive and tends to leap before she looks, and she always has a romantic side. She also has a romantic side too, not just always. Shadow, a heartless that pops up in all kinds of places. The shadow ambles around and attacks without warning. It is completely untouchable while hiding within the darkness. Soldier, a swift-moving heartless that attacks its prey with a spin kick. Its whimsical nature makes the soldier a less than tenacious foe. Large Body, a rotund heartless. The large body repels frontal attacks with its jiggly belly. Sometimes it throws its weight around and shakes the ground, so jumping is key. Red Nocturne, a magic-wielding heartless that drifts through the air. It's flighty and a bit hard to hit. The Red Nocturne attacks with fire from a distance and absorbs fire damage. Blue Rhapsody, a magic-wielding heartless that drifts through the air. The Blue Rhapsody attacks with Blizzard once it gets close enough, and absorbs ice damage. Yellow Opera, a magic-wielding heartless that drifts through the air. The Yellow Opera hurls itself at enemies or attacks with thunder. It absorbs all lightning damage. Green Requiem, a magic-wielding heartless that drifts through the air. It doesn't attack, but it can cast Cure to heal other heartless. The Green Requiem is slow, but is healed by basic elemental damage, making it tough to squash. Power Wild, a simian heartless that excels at jumping. It has destructive instincts and attacks with punches and sliding kicks. Bouncy Wild, a simian heartless. It teases its enemies and throws banana peels from far away. Be careful not to slip. Air Soldier, a winged heartless. It swoops down onto its opponent's head or slams into them when they let their guard down. The Air Soldier is swift, resilient, and not easy to ground. Bandit, a heartless that mainly appears in Agrabah. The bandit deftly wields the scimitar it carries and should be approached cautiously. Fat Bandit, a heartless that mainly appears in Agrabah. The Fat Bandit repels frontal attacks with its jiggly belly and spits fireballs. The Barrel Spider, a gunpowder-packed barrel transformed by darkness into a heartless. The Barrel Spider sets upon anyone foolish enough to think it's an ordinary barrel. The Search Ghost, a spooky heartless. The Search Ghost can warp out of harm's way and absorb its opponent's HP, making it a tough opponent. The Sea Neon, a jellyfish-like heartless. It might look laid back, but the Sea Neon's long tentacles can propel it towards an enemy for a ferocious attack. The Screwdriver, a heartless that likes to team up with the Aqua Tank. It attacks with a spear or charges its enemies. The Aqua Tank, a fish-like heartless that lazily wanders the sea. The Aqua Tank attacks with thunder or by whirling its sizable body about. The White Knight, a heartless that calls Halloween Town its main haunt. The White Knight's long appendages make it dangerous to approach. The Gargoyle, a winged heartless that mainly appears in Halloween Town. It pelts its stunned opponents with fireballs. The Pirate, a skilled... I'm mixing sentences. The Pirate, a heartless that mostly sticks to Neverland. A skilled swordsman, the pirate can knock its enemies out of cold and then finish them off with a vicious combo. If its sword flashes, watch out. The Air Pirate, a winged heartless that mostly sticks to Neverland. It's not armed, but it doesn't need to be. The Air Pirate deals a brutal punch right after its fist flashes. The Dark Ball, a heartless made from the very shadows of darkness. The Dark Ball mostly just bobs through the air, but its random weaving and biting are a nuisance. The Defender, a heartless that primarily resides in Hollow Bastion. Its shield stops head-on physical and magical attacks, and can launch fireballs. The Defender is also a skilled card user, and will break the cards of unprepared opponents. The Wyvern, an enormous heartless that hunts its enemies from the skies. The Wyvern is agile despite its size. Upon sighting its prey, it rushes forwards and attacks with a flurry of kicks. The Wizard, a heartless proficient in magic. The Wizard is a formidable opponent that attacks with high-level fire, blizzard, and thunder spells. The Neo Shadow, an extremely agile heartless. It dives into shadow before it pops up in front of its enemy and delivers a rolling attack. The Neo Shadow moves in the shadows, making it difficult opponent to fight. The White Mushroom, a heartless with an unusual affinity for people. The White Mushroom never attacks and may reward someone who comes to its aid. The Black Fungus, an aggressive, poisonous heartless, not to be confused with the White Mushroom. Black Fungus likes to paralyze its enemies and toy with them. It's tough to beat, but victory doesn't go unrewarded. The Creeper Plant, a flower-like heartless. It's rooted in one place, but staying far away isn't enough since it can spit seeds or attack from below with its sharp roots. The Tornado Step, a heartless that flies about using its arms like propeller blades. Whether it's moving or attacking, it's always spinning, but never seems to get dizzy. The Crescendo, a hopping horn-like heartless. It's a bothersome foe that can honk and call other heartless. I've seen that, much to my chagrin. The Guard Armor, a heartless that haunts Traverse Town. It appears when the bells ring to wreak havoc on the town. The Parasite Cage, a heartless that dwells inside Montreux. The Parasite Cage is quite the gourmand and eats anything in its path. Pinocchio figured out how to escape Monstro after getting gobbled up by it. The Trickmaster, the heartless in Wonderland that stole the Queen of Hearts' memories. Victims of memory theft don't even remember what it is they forgot. Darkside, the heartless that attacks Sora's home, Destiny Islands. Sora fought valiantly to protect the islands and his memories there. And that gives us all of that. There's like mini games and other stuff in here. Again, so we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Keyblades. None of the magic cards. None of the summon cards. None of the item cards. None of the map cards. None of the world cards. No friend card. Oh, we're missing a couple friend cards. I think we're missing Beast. Oh, who else? Beast and who else? Donald, Goofy, Aladdin, Ariel, Jack, Beast, Peter and Beast. Okay. Enemy cards, Shadow, and all of those other Heartless that I just talked about. And then we are missing some of the organization members. Does it actually tell us anything about... Yeah, it's just telling us what the card does. So yeah. That's pretty much it. This is just kind of a little wrap-up of all of this story, and I guess probably something that would be worthwhile to do while we're kind of here is kind of do a quick summary of the story so far. And I'm talking of Kingdom Hearts in general, not just Chain of Memories. So, when we started, Sora was on his home of Destiny Islands. He had a very strange dream that ended in... Oh, crap. Nope, don't want to do that. Not right now. This is the final battle. Are you ready? No, I'm not quite ready. Mainly because I don't actually want to do it. But, so Sora ends up seeing Heartless in his dream. At that time, we don't know them more than just these shadow creatures. And he's told that he holds the mightiest weapon of them all, and that he will be the one to open the door. And then he wakes up, and it seems like a dream. Simple as that. But he ends up spending time with his friends Riku and Kairi and helping build a raft. There's some shenanigans, and the only real thing of note that happens there is he gets visited by a shadowy cloaked figure that we now know to be Ansem. Ansem remarks on how little Sora knows and how little he understands, and that he's not really going to learn anything if he can't understand it. Which is a very backwards... You can't learn if you don't already know. It's a very backwards way of thinking, but it is. And then Sora kind of just moves on with his day, really. But eventually a storm hits, and during this storm Sora worries about the raft, so he makes his way back over to the islands. The island that he spends most of his free time on. The island that the first couple portions of the game take place at. And he gets there and notices that Riku and Kairi also made their way there with their boats. While there, he runs into Riku, who's talking about the door has opened. Sora, very confused, doesn't really know what to say. And then Riku continues on about how he can go to other worlds, and he's not afraid of the darkness, because that goes well always. And then he disappears into darkness, and we get our Keyblade. And then we try and go find Kairi, find Ghostly Goo Kairi that goes into Sora and then disappears. And then we get blown out, fight some Heartless, and end up getting blasted off to Traverse Town. And once we get to Traverse Town, we end up searching around for our friends for a little bit and then get confronted by Leon. Leon, or Squall Leonhard, if you are familiar with the Final Fantasy VIII, is also looking for the Keyblade Bearer. And finding us is a little less than thrilled that the Keyblade Bearer is a kid of mere 14. But he helps teach us a little bit about the Heartless after giving us a nice ass whooping. But he teaches us about the Heartless and the Keyblade a little bit. And then before we can meet other individuals who would also come searching the key, we end up getting attacked by Heartless and end up running off to try and find the main Heartless in the city. After kind of wandering around and then eventually making our way to the 3rd district of Traverse Town, we meet up with Goofy and Donald. who are the other two that have been looking for the Keyblade Bearer. And after the battle with Guard Armor, we make our way to discussing what to do next. Sora wanting to find his friends, and Goofy and Donald looking for their king. We all head out, looking using the Gummy Ship, the ship that Goofy and Donald bring with them to travel interspace. Then from there, we start moving through a number of Disney worlds, where Heartless seem abundant, but none of these worlds are overtaken like the Destiny Islands. And soon we learn that the Keyblade has a special ability to lock the doorways to the heart of a world using what is known as the keyhole. Each world has one, and for every keyhole that is found, the Heartless are denied another world. But we also seem to notice during our journey that some people of importance have gone missing, first of which is Alice from Wonderland. Eventually, we make our way back to Traverse Town and even seal the keyhole there. But moving on, we've run into Riku, actually, who is also still looking for Kairi, but seems a little distant, and he ends up disappearing in front of Sora, but we find out that he has aligned himself with Maleficent, who is whispering dark thoughts and feeding his fears by telling him that Sora has simply replaced Riku with Goofy and Donald. Which isn't quite the case, but it's something easy enough for Riku to swallow at the time. But then we continue. We go to more Disney worlds, end up losing more people, namely Princess Jasmine, until we make our way to Neverland. Once we get on our way to Neverland, we get captured by Captain Hook, who is capturing us on behalf of Riku, who has found Kairi, but Kairi's seemingly comatose or asleep. And Riku is intent on trying to find a way to wake her up. We had actually run into him just a little bit before inside Monstro, where he speaks about how maybe Pinocchio, a puppet who seems to have gained a heart, can help someone who's lost their heart. But as things get dicey on the Jolly Roger, Riku ends up fleeing with Kairi from the ship, and Sora soon follows in pursuit, making his way to Hollow Bastion. Hollow Bastion is a city overrun by Heartless, but not consumed, because the keyhole there is a little more complicated to open. Sora, upon reaching Hollow Bastion, ends up running into Riku again, who at this point takes hold of the Keyblade. Riku, being the original intended wielder, manages to reclaim it from Sora, and with that, Goofy and Donald continue on their mission, which is to follow the Keyblade Master. From here, Sora teams up with Beast to try and find Kairi and get back to what he was originally attempting to do: find his friends. Though Riku seems to be a little bit off that checklist for a little bit. But soon, Sora manages to meet back up with Riku, Donald, and Goofy, and says that he won't back down, and Riku attempts to end him for it. But quickly, Goofy steps in the way to protect Sora, saying that even though this might not be strictly his orders, he's not going to betray Sora. Donald, as well, comes to side with Sora, and with their help and the given confidence they bring, Sora manages to reclaim the Keyblade from Riku. From here, Riku starts delving further and further into the powers of darkness. And as we make our way through Hollow Bastion, we end up facing Maleficent before we can find Riku again. Maleficent is taken care of rather quickly, but she retreats into another portion of the castle. When we go to face her, we meet someone who looks like Riku, but something's off. And from there, they produce another Keyblade of their own, which they say will unlock people's hearts, and this Riku uses it on Maleficent to have her consumed by darkness and take her dragon form. From there we defeat her, and this Riku comments on how it's sad she was just a puppet all along, being played by the darkness. And then he disappears into a dark portal. Unable to follow him through his dark portal, we continue through the rest of Hollow Bastion to end up meeting this Riku towards the end, where we find Kairi. And we see him, this possessed Riku, we come to find out, who has been possessed by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. From there, we battle and we defeat him, and he disappears. But with that time, Sora finds out during the battle that Kairi's heart had taken refuge with him, and the only way to release it would be using the Keyblade that he had seen Riku wielding. So after their battle, he reclaims the Keyblade left on the floor and plunges it into his own chest, turning himself into a Heartless and recompleting Kairi. When this happens, Kairi, Goofy, and Donald try and escape Hollow Bastion on their own. Quickly, Ansem resurfaces, no longer taking the guise of Riku, but instead in his true form. Here, he tries to stop the three from leaving, but Riku, using what semblance of power he has left, stops Ansem, and the three are able to leave. Sora, now a Heartless, manages to make his way down to some of the lower levels of Hollow Bastion, keeping up with Goofy and Donald. In doing so, he manages to catch up with them, and Kairi recognizes him. From there, Kairi uses special magic princess powers, and Sora is made whole once again, to the Sora that we know and love today. But with that, the Heartless are still overwhelming, and the four end up leaving Hollow Bastion back to Traverse Town. But with a little bit of help, they make their way back to Hollow Bastion to seal the keyhole that required the 7 Princesses of Heart, the princesses that Maleficent and friends had been gathering. Kairi, who was the 7th, completed the keyhole when she regained her heart. And Sora and friends go in, seal that last keyhole, but still Ansem has yet to be dealt with, as when the final keyhole opened, he disappeared into the darkness that flowed out of it. From here, Sora and their friends make it to the end of the world. A final world that is the remnants of all the dark worlds consumed by the Heartless. Sora and friends make their way to Ansem and ultimately take him on in one final climactic battle. And then, with that, they see the door to Kingdom Hearts. Ansem professes that Kingdom Hearts is filled to the brim with darkness, and he'll use that power to destroy them. Sora proposes that it is, in fact, the opposite, that Kingdom Hearts is filled with light. And it comes to find out that, in some ways, both of them are right. When the door opens, light emerges from it, and Ansem is obliterated by the intense light, but on the other side of the door is the world of darkness. And to avoid Heartless from overrunning all worlds, Sora tries to close it with the help of Goofy and Donald. But it doesn't seem like they'll be able to close it in time. And that's when they see Riku on the other side, who tries to help them close it. And also King Mickey, who, using another Keyblade, helps us to close the door to darkness from both sides, using a Keyblade of light and a Keyblade of darkness. And then from there, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are set adrift in a world that they're not familiar with, between the realms of light and dark. And they end up making their way to this castle. At the same time, Riku and King Mickey get separated from each other in the realm of darkness. And Riku is drawn here by Diz to Castle Oblivion, while Sora is being drawn by Organization 13. Both of them ascend upward into the castle. Riku fighting memories of past darknesses, trying to control his own darkness, and Sora frantically searching for his friends and losing memories at the same time, eventually remembering a girl named Naminé. From here, Sora makes his way to try and protect Naminé, but he ends up learning that all the memories about Naminé were simply fabrications that she made herself, as she has control over memories. Once she tells him this, Sora forgives her for it. He lets it go as what it is. And for that, we like Sora for that. But she offers to help him get his old memories back, but first they needed to deal with Marluxia. After having all the other members of the organization here that they'd met taken out, except for Axel, they make their way to Marluxia, and he uses Naminé as a human shield, which, while Sora doesn't like that, Axel is just happy to go through Naminé as well. Sora takes that even worse and ends up fighting Axel until he disappears. And then we fight Marluxia and win. Meanwhile, Riku, who meets up with some members of the organization, namely Vexen, who makes a Riku replica, who is just a very odd plot point, but it makes sense later. A lot later. But so that happens, and he's making his way up, and some of the other members of the organization get the idea to use him to stop Marluxia. As they attempt to try, they end up taking too long, and Marluxia is dispatched anyways by Sora. Meanwhile, King Mickey is trying to get to Castle Oblivion to help out Riku. And the members of the organization left decide that Riku is becoming more problematic than useful, so they attempt to destroy him. Lexaeus takes the first crack at it and is overcome for a moment by Riku, but ultimately doesn't sway and ends up tossing Riku like a ragdoll across the room. But this gives Ansem, whose shadow still lingers in Riku's heart, enough time to take over and control Riku again. And in doing so, he ends Lexaeus. And from there, we end up having Mickey save Riku from his control, but still not quite here yet. Riku then makes his way through another fragment of memories from Destiny Island, and then is confronted by Sora, who attacks him and tries to kill him, saying that he's a creature of darkness. And he uses light to try and obliterate him. But in that, Kairi, or actually Namine, comes to him and tells him that he shouldn't fear the dark nor the light, as both will make him stronger. And hearing this, he overcomes his anxiety over the darkness and the light that has been warring inside him, and is able to bring himself back, and ends up cutting through the facade of light and finding out that it wasn't really Sora attacking him, but instead Zexion, the last of the organization members in Castle Oblivion. Zexion ultimately is unable to beat Riku, and he ends up running away, where he is dispatched by Axel and the Riku replica. Riku continues upward in the castle, ending up facing the Riku replica and destroying him. And then he makes his way to Namine, and Namine gives him a choice. She can lock his memories and prevent the darkness from escaping, or he can battle the darkness and possibly lose. Riku, seeing Sora, who had chosen to reclaim his memories and is put into a deep slumber as a result, decides that it would be more pertinent to battle the darkness, to overcome it now, and to protect Sora along the way. So he continues to face Ansem, and defeat Ansem's shadow that lingers in his heart. But Riku then is sure that it's not really gone, and he tells King Mickey that he's going to go and try and get rid of the last of the darkness, that it's not time to return home yet. Taking and donning an organization cloak that he was given by Diz, he starts making his way out of Castle Oblivion. For what purpose, we're not really sure. But Diz then asks which road he chooses to walk. Road of light or the road of darkness? Which Riku says that he'd prefer the middle road, getting a response of the twilight road to nightfall, which he ends with the simple response, no, the road to dawn. And with that, I think we're pretty well brought up. Sora is currently snoozing in his big old pod, and Riku is off battling the darkness and waiting for his friend to wake up. So, we're gonna finish Roxas's story, because Roxas's story is rather important to what's to come. And once that's done, we're gonna see what happens to start off the events of Kingdom Hearts 2. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time for some more Kingdom Hearts. But this wraps up Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I'm going to be real excited to get started with some Kingdom Hearts 2 here pretty quick. I'm going to start trying to do some recording batches and get stuff planned in advance. So I did mention this, I think, a little bit, but I'm going to kind of try and change up the style of how I do this to allow for some better editing and maybe cutting out some more monotonous bits. So I'm going to continue to skip those, because unfortunately I cannot listen to that music because it's copyrighted. But anyways, so yeah, I'm actually going to be probably starting while Days is going on. I'm going to be starting recording for Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm excited for that. Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably one of my favorite games to play. It's just a blast, and I hope you guys will get to see why. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next game. Bye-bye.